So thank you everybody for joining. I am excited to introduce Joseph Newbauer. Joseph has been a friend of mine for a few years now. And Joseph has a security company called Archangel
Security and Investigations is the company name.
Yeah, so you know what? I'm not going to introduce anymore because Joseph will do a much better job of explaining it. But today's just really quick. Today's going to be kind of two parts. The first part, Joseph they have a service that they offer. I don't know any other company that does this. And this is a service you can either give as a gift to your buyers or sellers, or you can just share it with them as an option, especially if they're in an area where they have any concerns about the location. So that's the first part of the meeting. The second part of the meeting, we're going to talk a little bit about just agent safety. As Robin alluded to, you don't want to be taped to a chair and robbed. So the whole second part of the meeting is going to be just talking about precautions you can put in place to protect yourself, especially if you're showing someone a home for the first time. So without further ado, Joseph, take the floor. And if do you need to share your screen, Joseph?
No. So I was going to put together a presentation, but it's much easier to just talk about. And I think you and I talked about this when we were talking before. I'm very informal about things, so I don't like presentations as it is. I like to more discuss. So are you guys good with me? Go ahead and taking it.
Go ahead. It's all you.
Okay. So like Isaac said, my name is Joseph Newbauer. I'm the owner of Archangel Security and Investigations. We are a private security company based out of Tumwater. And we're just getting started. So we're kind of at our grassroots stage, but we come from a background. I myself come from a military background. I was a counterintelligence special agent in the Army for several years. Did a lot of high-end work, a lot of classified work. And then my partner has done very executive protection, high-end private security, and then investigations. He's been doing that for well over a decade, closer to two decades. But together, we kind of pooled our resources, our knowledge, and our experience base. And that's what makes Archangel Security and Investigations, also known as ASI. So if I ever say ASI, I'm talking about my company. Isaac mentioned it already a little bit. I think the first thing I really want to talk about was clients and their security and safety and what they're going to be looking for. I don't really know of any other group of people that has a broader grasp or a broader in touch base with people who need security services, such as people moving in their house initially, than real estate agents. So I couldn't think of a better place to start than talking to Isaac. There's really, when it comes to the real estate agents, if agents want to refer us or refer clients to us for security services or whatever they might need, we do offer a wide array of services. The main thing we touch on with real estate agents is a type of security assessment we do called a threat and vulnerability analysis. Also known as a TVA. For TVAs, what we do is we go to any client's place of residence or their work, whatever they need the assessment done on, and we'll take a look at it. We'll do a full walkthrough to include talking about their concerns, what they're looking for with their security, different things they've noticed, and then what they're wanting to accomplish with whatever structure it is, either a house or their business, what they're wanting to accomplish, and then we do our full walkthrough. We look at exits and entry and exit points. We look at, the property lines, everything like that. And then we go from there, we take our report and all the notes that we've taken down, we take them back and we write up a report and send the client a report. That's the product itself, is the report, that assessment. In that assessment, we talk about, we break down the threats in the area. So for example, the office that Isaac is sitting in right now is right off High Street, Tacoma. Not the greatest area. And there's a lot of points to watch on it, right? So yeah, Isaac's there, so it's a little bit better. But there's a lot of points. There's the side streets, there's the back streets. Everything parallels each other. It is hard to get a grasp on security of everything coming and going from that point. But we take the threats in the area, we compile them, police reports, everything like that, compile them all together, and then we match that with the vulnerabilities of the place. So obviously the more entrance and exits you have, the harder it is to actually keep track of people coming and going. If you have security cameras or you need security cameras, it's going to be a lot harder to watch things if you have more angles in your building and whatnot. So we take a look at all your threats, all your vulnerabilities, and then we put together what's called a mitigation and safety plan. What that does is it gives every suggestion that we make on, hey, this item right here would help significantly with your security. Here's why, here's what type you need or what you need in place. So we put together the threats, the vulnerabilities, and then compare that to the mitigation and safety plan, and let you know basically where you stand with your security of where you're at, and then what you need to do to mitigate and close those gaps for those vulnerable points. There's not too many people that have the knowledge base, and there's nobody that I know of that actually provides that. I mean, the bigger the structure, the more you're trying to do, the more in depth you're trying to go, the longer the report's going to be. It could be anywhere from 7-8 pages, all the way up to even more than that if you're doing a bigger company. But we try and keep them short. We don't try and we'll go more than a few pages because people don't want to sit there and just read for 45 minutes straight. They want to know what's actually going on and then what's suggested to fix it. So that's the first thing that we do. And then, like I said, any other security and investigative services, there's not really anything we don't do. But yeah, anything else that a client might need for security or any type of investigative work, we're the company for that. So that's for that. And the other thing, I don't know what just happened here. My whole screen went blank. Am I still heard? I'm not even sure if anybody's there.
Yeah, we hear you. You're all good.
There we go.
No, you were on mute that whole time. No.
Yeah. All that work was just jaw jacking.
Joseph, do you want us to hold questions for later after you go through the presentation here, or jump in anytime?
This is more just discussion than anything else. That's really all it is here. So feel free to jump in.
What would that service you just described, let's just say, just a residential, a home, someone says, I'm moving to the area, I like the home. I don't know anything about this home. Say, could you do that for this home? What would something like that cost?
For just your typical residence, like a normal house, detached garage, something basic like that, $450 is the base price for that. Obviously, if we're, we have detached shops and something in the back of the property and we're, something like that, it can go up, but it's not going to go up too much more than that for residences. Companies and corporations is usually where it gets more extensive. So $450 is your answer if that's what you're looking for.
And included in that, do you do an analysis of the neighborhood and safety concerns with that neighborhood?
Yes. So in there, we'll talk about police reports that have happened in the last 12 months, things that directly impact you. If there's like even businesses, we've added businesses into them before where robberies have happened at a strip mall half a mile away. Well, that's a security concern because if they're running on foot, they're going to be in your residence. They're going to be in your neighborhood. So everything we talk about, like your crime rates, your crime statistics in the area. People were baffled to find out. Isaac and I talked about this when we sat down together. People were baffled to find out all the way out in like Yelm and those country areas, you're almost twice as more likely to be a victim of property crime as you are in downtown Olympia. And that was 2020 statistics. And people don't know that. You don't dig into that. Those numbers aren't readily provided to you. So having something like that to where you can move in knowing, oh wow, this is what we're looking at. But that's okay because this is what we can do to fix it. We already know that. It's a massive step, especially for a new homeowner.
And again, the goal of this report, if you were to buy this for a client or talk, provide, Joseph's contact information to a client, is not to scare them about the home they just bought, but more so to say, it's better to know where you are than to, not know, right? A small part of it is crime reports and things like that. The majority of it is because he showed me this a few weeks ago, is how can you protect yourself with the proper security system, where are your blind spots in the home, and so on. When Joseph showed me the report that he provided a client recently, it wasn't like a big doom and gloom, like, move. I mean, I guess that would work out because then you get a listing and they'll buy another home, but I'm just kidding. But the goal was more so to just show them like, hey, you want to protect yourself and here's how you can do that. It's not a big doom and gloom speech and hey, you shouldn't have bought this home, but since you did, now you should know all the scary parts about this area.
Absolutely. Hey, Isaac, that hit the nail on the head. It more focuses on the mitigation and safety plan. Everywhere you move, it's no secret that everywhere you move has some type of crime rate, have some type of, burglary or residential burglary, whatever the crime statistics may be for that area. Every area still has them. That's not news, but what can I do to fix it? What specifically can I do for this house to make it safe and give me it's a warm and fuzzy more than anything else. if that makes any sense.
Yep, absolutely. Any other questions?
So let's just say we engage your services, have all this work done, or for a client, let's just say for a client, they say, hey, I'm gonna buy this house. So they go through all of that. And then there is an incident that was not covered in your report. That kind of warranty, I mean, what kind of disclaimers should go with that?
This is an advisory report, strictly. Just because, a bank has a security guard on it doesn't mean they're not going to get hit. There's been plenty of times where security guards been there. It's a deterrent more than anything else, right? And this isn't the security system itself. This isn't specifically what you're putting in place. This is basically advice on what to do to better the security. Any security system, if a criminal wants to get past it, they're going to, but you're just adding deterrence and you're documenting. That's one of the huge things that I hit on with clients when I'm specifically doing these analysis is this is a chain of custody. This is evidence for court, right? You're going to catch people's faces. Criminals are going to do criminal stuff no matter what, right? It's being able to document it properly and make sure that they're actually prosecuted for something. That's also part of that warm and fuzzy, right? People are going to come by, they're going to steal stuff. They're going to, take gas caps and siphon gas. It happens, right? But what can I do to better document it, right? It boosts your security system. It gives you ideas on things for security for your house that you never would have thought of before, right? And then with the suggestions on specific items to put in place, for example, I believe, Isaac, the one I was talking to you about, I believe it actually had an actual map with camera points across the property, their scope of vision, camera numbers, the purpose of what they were going to do, the exact type of camera, whether they were going to be wireless transmitting, whether they were going to be battery operated or hardwired. I mean, it goes down into the nitty gritty details of what's the best item to go there. And this is not something that I sell. I don't sell these items. This is just the suggestions that I suggest because I know what different security systems are going to do, how they're going to operate. And because there's some, motion activated ones that are delayed. They're awesome cameras and they're delayed 4 or 5 seconds. And that's a lot of time, right? So putting this all into one specific report that you can read through and base your security off of that, and either you can have us come in and, install something, or you can have an outside company come in, or you can install it or whatever. It makes it very basically caterable to the client, right? It's so open, so flexible. You can do whatever you want with it. You can add to it no matter what. And then the other thing we do is we allow clients to follow up. So if you have questions about that on, could we have done something more, or whatever questions you may have about that specific report or your property, we follow up with all of those. We've already had those questions coming through and we follow up with all of them. So it's definitely that warm and fuzzy more than anything else. And it goes a long way. A lot of people absolutely love them.
Yep. It's probably not a gift for every client either, right? It's not something that, you've got a young couple who moves to the middle of Hilltop and, they know where they're moving.
Be careful what you say.
I know, wherever, Hilltop or anywhere. You maybe that's not the right client, but you got somebody who's moving somewhere where they bought a big property and they're, just the type of person who wants to know what they're, they've talked about getting a security system, things like that. This would be a pretty sweet closing gift.
Last question.
Go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Let's say I bought a house, let's say on like South Yakima, and it's got a deep setback and there's all these bushes so you can't see the house from the street. And then the back backs up to an alley and the garage has been broken into a couple times. Like let's say that's like a moderate crime area. If I had you guys come out and assess the property and then we secured the property by cutting down the hedges, adding motion cameras, adding, lights that turn on when motion activated them, would that be something that I could like send to my homeowner's insurance company and be like, hey, can I get a lower rate because I took these proactive actions?
That is an awesome question. This is actually not something we've dealt with yet, but something we've already talked about. That'd have to be something that you would have to ask your insurance company about first, because I don't know that they're going to give you a better rate. I do know that like for driving discounts and whatnot, if you have like a defensive driving course or something like that, that'll do it. And that's just like a printed off certificate. So I would imagine that they'll work with it. But I would check with your insurance company first before moving forward with that.
I actually know the answer to that one, Robin. I mean, it depends on your insurance company, but yes, I mean, every insurance company I know of, if you have a security system, you do get a discount. I don't know what it is. Talk to your insurance company, but yeah, my properties, I put security systems up, and I had to provide pictures that I did and show them a receipt for the equipment that I purchased. And I can't remember what the discount is. It's not dramatic, but it's something. I want to say it was around $10 a month. You know, just because it's a slightly lower risk, I suppose, for the insurance company. So I guess it depends on your insurance company, but my understanding is absolutely yes.
Awesome. Thank you.
So I've got one that's kind of out there, but this is my biggest fear other than crime is when I'm walking a neighborhood. I moved into an area in the past, had lots of pit bulls, and I know that they're in the area. So I walk with a walking stick or a ski pole. Is that something that you would have data like that on, like the number of large or considered to be, you know, in that group of dogs that could be dangerous?
So that's, you're more talking about the area or geographical statistics right there than anything else. Getting into like dog breeds and different things like that is a whole nother topic in and of itself that we could have. But I think what you're touching on is what we're about to talk about next. And this goes from, you know, whether you're acting as an agent, a real estate agent, or whether you're walking your neighborhood in your personal life, you know, or your social life, or whatever. I think it goes into that. Before we go into that though, to answer your question, does anyone else have questions on client, you know, things that you offer the client? Or are we good?
Yeah, in regards to this package, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Is there any other questions on that? Are we good to move on to agent safety?
I have a question. I'm putting you on the spot because you probably haven't thought about this, and that's fine. You can get back to us. Have you considered the idea of doing a remote, like before someone buys a home, like, hey, here's like, no, like, hey, here's where you should put a security system and so on. But just like, so we get questions all the time. Hey, I'm looking in this area. What are the crime rates like? And we go to these websites and they're really vague and not really good. Maybe it's a suggestion more than a question, but that would be a sweet offer. I mean, people are spending $450 on an inspection, $200 for a sewer scope. I'm sure they'd spend, I'm throwing a random number. I have no idea what it would cost, but $150 maybe for a quick, here's a crime analysis with statistics on that area. Just something to think about. I think that is something that a lot of people would pay for before they buy the home, because obviously no one's probably going to spend $450 before they buy a home for a home that they may not even get, especially in a hot market like this. So just something to think about, I guess. I'm not going to
share my screen because it has personal information on it, but I'm in the middle of one right now. Not here in Washington, but for someone else. So that's it. That's something we thought about, but we've not talked with anyone about, well, I've not talked with anyone, not even my partner, about that yet.
Great mind.
It's something that I've been doing in my head.
Great mind.
But yeah, that's a phenomenal idea. Doing something like $100, $150 for like, hey, I'm looking in this area. We want to move to this area specifically. And then you send them the crime stats, and then you also add specific, you know, police reports that have been filed because of certain incidents or whatnot. You know, in the last 12 months, you know, or 18 months or whatever. But yes, that is something I've already been thinking about doing. But that's a great idea.
Awesome. Cool. So at the end of the meeting, we'll give you a chance to give your contact information, and we'll include that in the
recap email.
Yes, that's the one. Perfect.
Okay. So back to the question from earlier, and I do not know names.
What was that?
Back to the question from earlier, though.
Oh, yeah.
Because you had your question, then we were kind of moving towards agent safety a little bit. I don't remember who it was I was talking to.
It was Wilson. Wilson was asking about, well, I mean, you heard it about you know,
dogs, other dangers in the neighborhood.
Yes. So going along with like agent safety and whatnot is both where you're going and what tools you have to do that with, right? You can go to proper, you know, safe places all day long, or, you know, places with high crime rates all day long. But if you don't have the proper tools to secure yourself, and be your own security, you're setting yourself up for failure, right? So one of the things we offer is I call it my social security class, right? It's security in your social life, right? So it's not actual social security, but I call it my social security class. We talk about everything from, you know, getting in the car at Safeway and getting out of the car at Safeway to going to meet clients, specifically for real estate agents, going to meet clients. I'm sure I haven't heard a fraction of them, but I have heard of many, many, many horror stories with real estate agents. And it sounds just a lot like doom and gloom, but at the same time, it's not just being an agent, it's also your personal life, right? So, you know, we talk about different tools you can use, whether that's little like things to put on your keychain, or whether that's actually carrying something like a taser. You really walk a fine line in a professional life, like as a real estate agent, not being able to, for example, carry a firearm or a knife or something like that, that would be your safety. You walk fine. And I don't know what the rules are for what agents can and cannot carry. But I have heard of agents carrying like a taser, a little taser before, not a stun gun, the one that actually throws prongs. There's ones that are legal for civilians to have, and they're actually designed for women that are running, right? For women going running, and it's called a taser pulse, and it looks like it's about that big. It's a little handgun, looks like, and you has a laser, you hit it with the prongs, and then it rides for 30 seconds. Basically, it's shocking the person for 30 seconds. It gives you time to run. We talk about everything from tools like that to, you know, just different things you can do, different things you can do to make sure you're safe, have that accountability, have people know where you're going. We talk about everything. And a lot of things I'm surprised that people don't know or they don't think about. So it's definitely an informational class or something to take. And then the other thing is, like I talked about, the products. So you can look on Amazon for different safety products. I know there's mace and people carry different things, but I find the closer you have to get to someone, the worse it is, the worse the trauma, the after trauma is for people. So I try and keep people away. So if you can have like an OC bottle or something like that, or an OC mace, sorry, not OC, mace. If you can have a little thing of keychain mace, or like I said, the taser pulse, it works really well. And a lot of times you pull it out, you don't even have to fire it or, you know, shoot it off or anything like that. And it's already deterrent. So both of those things are concepts to think about. Go ahead.
I have one of those and I carry it in my purse, and I brought it to the office, and Isaac was like, "Can I see it?" And he jumped out of his skin at how loud it was.
Yes.
This is so revisionist history. That is not what happened. Okay. I was just like, I swear you pointed at me.
Why would I do that?
I believe you, Rob.
I would point it at Isaac too, though.
Isaac, can you do that again?
Yeah, it was. I don't know why it startled me, but I didn't jump out of my skin. I was fine. I was good. I don't know why.
Oh yeah, that's definitely how it happened.
I'm sure you recovered quickly.
Totally quickly.
Nobody saw it.
Either way, I have a taser, you guys, that I really like, that I carry, and if you guys need recommendations, this has worked for me.
Do you have the pulse? Is it actually the pulse?
It's a ViperTech, and it goes.
Yes, ViperTech's awesome.
Yeah.
So I mainly talk about taser because people know the name taser. There are several other products out there, and some are actually I think better than taser. Taser's just more widespread and well known. But yes, that is awesome.
I like carrying the taser because when I lived in Everett, if I was walking home from my car, and I usually carried a can of wasp spray, but when I got my taser, I would just carry that, and that acted as a pretty good deterrent for me.
Wasp spray will mess somebody up.
Yeah, and it sprays awesome. 6 feet, and it's a really big can, and it definitely kept at least 2 people away from me. So hey,
they have like police level OC, and it comes in it's a larger canister, and it's actually got like a handle on the back that you spray, and that is it works wonders, and it shoots a big old spray stream a long ways. So those things work wonders. So having little items like that, and we can get into that and talk about what that is or what people would be comfortable with, because for me, I'm comfortable carrying, concealed carrying my firearm. A lot of people aren't comfortable with that. And a lot of clients would be very uncomfortable if an agent was carrying that. So I can understand not wanting something like that, but having something like a taser, or there are stun guns. I don't advise having a stun gun over a taser because stun gun, you have to get right up close and personal and make contact. Whereas a taser, you can stand 15 feet away, and the laser on it's going to point at exactly where that prong is going to hit, and you can make contact and then run. And it's super easy that way. It just, for me, I prefer to be less personal, at least for people that I'm talking with.
So I guess to summarize what Joseph is saying, there's they offer a personal, a self-protection. What's the word? Self-protection, self-defense. There it is. Whoa.
Yes.
They offer a self-defense class, and whether you are interested in learning how to purchase a gun and how to get a concealed carry permit, or if that's like, no, I'm not interested in that, there are other ways to protect yourself. Maybe you don't want a taser. Maybe you just want to learn how to stand your own if someone were to try and physically attack you. They have classes for that, and that was, we're in that second part of the meeting where we're kind of talking about that. That is something that that they offer.
Yes, and that was something I was going to talk about later in the course, or closer to the end. Is we have an academy, ASI Academy, and we do everything from weapons training to like actual personal self-defense training. If you're trying to like break holds and things like that, we talk about that. We talk about your security online. We teach people to take their identity offline. Makes it harder for people to be able to find you. We talk about, there's just so many things that we could talk about and cover and go over in those courses. It's absolutely unreal. I think even when Isaac and I were talking, there was things that I mentioned that he had no idea on. But it's definitely, those courses are extremely informational. And then of course we have firearms courses as well. So if you were wanting to learn how to get your concealed pistol license and get familiar with that, we can cover that as well. I'm not sure if there's, so yeah, we have the classes and then the different products. So Isaac, I'm not sure what you got.
That's it, man. Yeah. So how can people learn more about you and how to maybe sign up for a class, how to contact you about ordering any of these reports or anything like that?
So we have, right now we're on Facebook and Instagram. And then I've got my contact information, so my email and my phone number, and I'll send a copy of my card to Isaac, and Isaac can send it to everyone if that's fine. But we are, if you find Archangel Security and Investigations on Facebook, you can ask any questions and I'll pick those up. And then, like I said, I have my phone number and email if anybody's got any questions. But if you have clients that want something like that, we're working on getting our website up to be able to kind of detail that out and explain that so people can go to the website and see it for themselves. But right now we're just on Facebook and then my contact information.
That's awesome, man. Well, I really appreciate you taking the time. Again, guys, like, we're not pushing you to go one way or another as far as agent safety goes. Just want everybody to think about it. There's, as we all know, there have been some tragic stories over the past few years of people, luring a real estate agent out to a showing and robbing them or worse in some awful circumstances. So that's really the goal of this meeting, is to encourage you guys to think about that and make sure you're taking precautions. As Robin has said in the past, if you're feeling unsafe, don't be afraid to ask an agent to go with you, or at a minimum, text me or Robin or somebody, your spouse, and say, hey, I'm about to go into a showing with someone I haven't met before. This is the address I'm at. I'm going to call you in 20 minutes to let you know I'm good. If I don't, please call me. If you can't get a hold of me, please call 911. Like, that's a really, really, really easy step that you can do that could, literally save you. So I don't want to scare people. I don't want to overstate things, but at the same time, it's just such a serious thing, and you never think anything like that can ever happen to you. But it can. And so that's really why I wanted Joseph to have this second part of the meeting, is maybe consider taking a self-defense class, or at least purchasing some of the, a stun gun or pepper spray, or even some of the other things you were showing me, Joseph.
Hey, Isaac.
Yeah.
So I believe it's next Tuesday. Sarah, Brandon, and I have put together an agent safety sort of class that comes, it's not anything about like what Joseph talked about. This is all sort of specific to agents themselves. And it is written from a women's perspective, but I've been in the industry for 12 years and I've known a lot of agents, and I've heard a lot of stories, and I learn from every one of my sister's close calls. So we can talk about more of the defense products during next Tuesday as well.
Awesome, awesome. Well, any other questions for Joseph or any of the products that they offer? All right. Well, we'll wrap it up. Thank you again. And like I said, we'll have all of his contact information, the follow-up email. If you have any questions for him, feel free to reach out. I've known Joseph for quite a while, and he's